He was like a secret I was keeping from everyone, the hot ignition in my life, the spark in my life, to confirm what I had suspected about myself for a while. We met when I was waiting to take the bus home from campus during the first snowfall of the winter. It was a late class, and it let out 40 minutes before the bus arrived. Most of my friends were busy with other things at that time of the night, so I was alone with my DS on the bus bench, killing time playing Mercenaries 3D. The first time I saw him, he sat down at the other end of the bench. It was just me and him, and since neither of us were polite enough to say hi, it was kind of awkward. But what made it more awkward was that I couldn't keep my eyes off of him. His face was blindingly white, with a softness that was intimidatingly cute. His lips were the only thing that had any saturation, a red that was almost purple from the cold. There was also a coldness about his eyes. His winter coat was a medical white, and his hair was parted to one side, and almost graying black in the artificial lighting. When we got on the bus, I took a seat first, and he sat behind me afterwards. Then I tried to casually look back, but he instantly locked eyes with me. Before getting off at my stop, I tried to look around the bus to get a look at him. We again locked eyes, and it was very clearly obvious what I was doing. The next day, however, when he sat down at the bench, despite taking the other side again, he pulled out his DS and began playing Mercenaries as well. He had the volume up to the max, I think to make sure I knew what he was playing. I entered the 2-player mode, and he instantly joined. That was the first time I saw his username. Snow Ghost. But don't think that this is a story, just a memory I should never forget. Maybe a parable for those younger than me, but not something for your enjoyment. Anyway, he was playing as Nurse Rebecca. We continued to play on the bus, the whole time, not saying a word to one another. But before I got off the bus, I waved bye to him, and he waved back. The next time we met at the bus stop, we were alone as usual. I had a feeling of tension building about him, and he sat down right beside me. I just sort of blurted out, "Are you gay?" He nodded yes, very slightly, and we just started making out. It was the first time I ever felt like being aggressive when making out. His lips were cold and a little chapped from the breeze. I tried to push my tongue in, and he mumbled to slow down. I did, but I didn't want to. After that, we started chatting on Steam, and he became my sort of secret boyfriend. I was finally aroused by someone, in person, for the first time in my life. I was so very intent on taking things to the next level. Him, not so much. He wanted to keep things casual, I guess. Or I guessed at the time. But we didn't see each other much after all. So maybe it was for the best, I thought. He was very busy with school too. He was a Plymouth State student as well, a writer inspired by Robert Frost who once taught at PSU. It took a lot of pressuring to get him into my apartment, but one night he came, and things started quickly, but didn't go as planned. Just inside the door, he undid my belt and my pants. Then, with his wool gloves still on, started stroking me. His deodorant smelled pleasantly of pine trees, and he was panning as if he was the one being stimulated. When I asked for him to take his gloves off, he initially refused with a disgruntled mumble, which I thought was very strange. After repeated pleas, he took his gloves off. His bony hands were very, very cold, and I was very, very happy to have my cock in something tight, and such an adorable guy pressing up against me. But I wasn't getting anywhere, and I panicked because I knew he knew as well. As the worry came over me, it disheartened him, and his hand slowed down, then eventually let go. completely soft. He backed up and looked into my eyes. I tried to apologize and I assured him I was gay and that I was attracted to him, but he knew that wasn't the problem. If only I wasn't so dense to know his thoughts and his problems. It was all very new to me. He put his gloves on, an expression of sadness in his face, a rare expression of emotions from him. And then he quickly left and I couldn't stop him. The next day, I explained what had happened to one of my friends who I knew I could trust, a super senior who would always quell any drama effectively. But when I told her Snow Ghost's real name, she got mad at me. She told me it wasn't funny. When she saw that I didn't know what crude joke I had apparently made, she explained the situation. As you can probably guess by now, Snow Ghost was gone. He ended his own life when my friend was still a freshman. Word got back to his family that he was gay, and some other things went wrong in his life. Please understand why I'm telling you this, however. It's not to preach to you anything. You'll make up your own mind about things. This is for me, and I guess anyone that, I don't know, feels a little more human after hearing this, I guess. I may sound unhappy talking about this, but these memories are more complicated than that. The story actually has a happy ending. I genuinely didn't mean to make a pun there. So, I actually got to see Snow Ghost again. After the whole ordeal, I didn't let on that I had any more knowledge. I was surprised to see him at the bus stop again. Normally, these kinds of stories, tales, or whatever end here, but not mine. I told him that I had been heartless for pushing him to do something that he didn't want to do, but he repeatedly insisted that we try again. Inside my house, I led him to my futon with a space heater in front of it, casting an orange hue across the room. I made him a cup of hot cocoa. After talking just a little bit and drinking a little cocoa, we began to make out. He even let me use my tongue. He told me that he had something that he wanted to show me. For the first time, he took off his coat, then his shirt. He was almost blue. With his bare hands, he placed my hand over his heart. Not beating. It was still in a manner unbefitting of someone so much in love. I haven't physically seen him since that night, nor has he been on Steam. I graduated last year, and while I've had a few flings, nothing too serious has happened to me yet. But sometimes, if I'm lonely or sad, I can go to that bus stop at night, and I can always find someone to play with.